This is the Amp Hour Podcast. Released 4th, 2022. Episode 597. Wow, Dave really likes Top Gun.
Welcome to the Amp Hour. I'm Dave Jones from the EEV blog.
And I'm Chris Gamble of Contextual Electronics.
I am hip with the kiddies. I am down with the latest tech. I have augmented reality glasses.
Yeah, you're living in the future, man.
Yep.
You are future man.
But as I said on Twitter, I put the glasses on and Twitter still sucks. So yeah, maybe I'm using them wrong. Anyway, yes, I've got the Tilt 5 glasses. I got Jerry Ellsworth's. I was a backer and I finally got my backer kit and she included some extra set as well for teardown, like a older set. I think it's like a more proto-y kind of one that I can do a teardown. So I expect to see a teardown video, but I've got it right in front of me here.
So I'm trying to remember the timeline. So we had Jerry back on.
That was 4 years ago. That was May 2018.
Seriously? Wow.
Yes, seriously.
Oh, is that when you backed? That was, they shut down the original Kickstarter and they started a new one.
Well, she was at Valve and then she left Valve and formed Cast AR, right? I think this is the timeline. And then Cast AR spectacularly failed, and that's why we had her on the show to talk about why and how that failed, and that has to do with I don't know, all sorts of politics.
Oh, and that's when they had given back all the money. They had Cast AR had raised the money.
Yes. Oh, that's right. Did Cast AR do a Cast AR did a
Kickstarter, that's right.
Did they? And but they gave the money back, which was unheard of, right? And that was
because they raised a bunch of venture capital as well.
Venture capital. So she deliberately, I think, kept the money, the Kickstarter money aside, just in case for that eventuality that it failed because of venture capital politics or something. I can't remember. We'll have to listen to the episode again.
Bonkers. 4 years ago.
That was 4 years ago. Well, it was before that because we had her on after. I'm not sure how long after Cast AR failed we had her on, but she had just formed Tilt 5.
Well, no. The episode I'm talking about is Jerry Ellsworth, number 394, Jerry Ellsworth and demise of Cast AR. We will link in, of course.
Yes, and the demise of Cast AR.
That was May of 2018. So that was after.
Yeah. That was after it failed. But was that before? But she had already started Tilt 5 then? She had just started,
then it took a while to build, to buy the assets, I believe. I think she bought the assets like a year or two later.
Yeah, that's right. Valve gave her the IP to start Cast AR. And then, she might have had to buy them back or something. No?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, so Valve gave her the IP that was Cast AR. And then when that shut down, then she bought the IP.
She bought the IP. Okay,
from the
that
guts
sounds familiar.
Of Cast AR for Tilt 5.
Got it.
So when did you put in the backing support?
I have no idea. I can't remember the time. Sorry, I can't remember the time. Look, I can do a quick.
Folks, this is the first sign of an aging brain.
Well, it's been I'm sure it's 3 years or something. It's at least a couple of years. I can search my Gmail is probably the best way to do it. And so I'll search Tilt 5 project update in 2019. September 2019 is when you just backed. So September 2019.
Okay.
There you go.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, there's a pandemic in there.
So that's almost 3 years. That's almost 3 years because it's almost the end of July now. August, so yeah.
Oh, yeah, and I'm on the Tilt 5 site, and it says, now fulfilling orders to Kickstarter backers reserved today and receive the Tilt 5 system in winter. So it sounds like they have new stocked, actually.
Oh, they have, right. I was going to ask about the component shortage and stuff like that, but And I got lots of, I've got at least 38 project updates in my email box, and they're the ones I kept, I guess. But so constant updates all through, all throughout this thing. But so
either games out of the box and everything like that. I mean, this is
Well, I had a few issues. You'll see the reaction video. I'm going to edit it after this.
Okay.
It didn't work out of the box, unfortunately.
Okay. Well, it is a development kit still, right? I
Oh,
mean, this is kind
it
of it,
is a
or no?
development kit. Well, I actually talked to Jerry on Twitter DM as I
Uh-huh.
was having issues here. So she was
Yeah, yeah.
she's Johnny on the
Like
spot,
like
right?
long distance troubleshooting, huh?
Yep,
Yeah.
long distance
These
troubleshooting
friggin' users.
with the CEO herself, right? With the founder and
Uh-huh, uh-huh.
CEO herself, and
Yeah.
she absolutely nailed it from the get go. She said, "Yeah, they're on the edge of what they can do data rate for the USB C connection. So they're on the
Yeah.
limit." So I was actually plugging it into the top of my desktop
Uh-huh.
USB 3 port via the
Mhm.
USB C to USB A adapter,
Yeah.
and the combination of that, and she said over the ribbon cable to the motherboard and everything else, you get a slightly lower data rates, and it just doesn't work. It
Yeah.
often doesn't work.
Yeah. So you gotta go, like, in the back of the
So
computer where it's
I flipped my
directly
PC
on board.
around, I plugged it directly into a USB-C port, and it
Yep.
worked better.
Good.
I should probably read the instructions for this IKEA table I'm trying to a
Yeah, right,
bookshelf
right.
I'm trying to
I'm gonna
assemble,
try and put
right.
a bunch of weight on this or something,
Yeah,
it's like,
right.
"Ee."
Uh, oh
Yeah.
boy.
Uh,
Yep.
it's
Eh,
just
yeah,
wisdom. It's accumulated wisdom.
yep. Anyway, are you gonna ask me about the augmented reality experience?
I kinda figured I'd get it from the video, but, Dave, what is the augmented reality experience?
It's exactly what I expected. Like
Oh,
I
okay.
expected, like technically, like I'm not wowed by these things. I hate
You
virtual
don't play
reality.
video games anyways, so
Well,
there's
no,
also that.
well, I kind of, well, I used to, but no, I hate 3D with a passion. Right, I
Oh,
hate
yeah.
3D movies and all the 3D glasses bullshit,
Sure,
and
sure.
I hate virtual reality. Granted, I haven't tried, the new metaverse BS, right, and the latest goggles and stuff like that, but I generally hate virtual reality.
Looks really campy. All the metaverse stuff looks very,
Oh,
very
I
campy to
just
me.
no, no. But
And
the
I'm
good thing about
like,
Cast
I wanted
AR,
Oasis. I wanted Oasis, and
I want the if I'm yes, if you're gonna
I
do
I'm ge
VR, give me the full
I'm getting
Oasis.
like,
Yeah.
Farmville in
Right,
3D instead of, like,
right.
the
Yeah,
Oasis.
instead of the Oasis. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. But
And
anyway,
even the
no, I
Oasis.
think it's very cool because you can still see your hands in front of you. You can still see the table. You can still see the room. You can still see your
Yeah, yeah, of
friends
course.
sitting next to you. You're
Yeah.
immersed more in the experience, and it's kind of disappointing when I not no the tech is awesome, right? But it's kind of like right when I actually put my hand in front of it, it feels like I'm going to be able to pick up that 3D ball in front of me,
Oh,
and
yeah,
I go,
yeah.
I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it, and then I get close to it, and my hand goes and actually blocks out the ball instead of goes under. Oh damn it! It's
Yeah.
not real. It's not real.
Yeah.
you know.
Yep,
But
yep.
but when I get close to it, like it feels like very 3D. It really is
So you're saying it's
quite
immersive. It's
impressive. It's
immersive and
very
it
immersive. It's very
yeah.
impressive. Yeah.
All these things, like, I don't I had to give up playing video games a long time ago because I got really
right.
sucked into them. I kinda think about, like, all of these things, like, Jerry stuff, it's awesome, like, the VR stuff is awesome too, and it's like,
Mhm.
it's really about, is it gonna be still on is it in your hands 6 months from now, a year from now, whatever, and it's just like,
Exactly. That is the
that is
test. Yeah.
hard to do, and
Yep.
that's so much,
That is
like,
hard to do.
content and, like, developing,
Yep.
you know, as much as it pains me to say it, it's not about the hardware, it's about the
Mm.
ecosystem and the software and, like, the marketing and all the other crap that's in there,
Mm.
and, I hope they solve that,
Well, I hope this augmented reality. I actually predict this will be quite big. Jerry's
Mm.
product here, this Tilt 5 thing, because it really is quite impressive. I haven't taken it home and shown the kids. I guess the ultimate kid,
That'll be interesting, yeah, yeah, sure,
does a 10-year-old kid think this is cool, kind of thing.
sure.
Whereas I think they'll think this is cooler than the virtual reality. That would be my guess.
Mm, yeah.
So yeah, because like you're actually immersed in the thing and you're sitting around with your friends and you're playing rather than just put
Sure,
the
sure,
goggles
yeah.
on and go in your own, you know, universe. No, no, thank you.
Well, as much as I am, the consummate tastemaker, I have no idea what the public likes, and,
Yeah,
so
exactly.
I think it's gonna come down to, the market and
Well, there are only two techs. There's virtual reality and there's augmented. So I'm,
there's also
but
distorted reality, I live in that one.
yeah, exactly. It's called Twitter. Yep,
Yeah.
yep. And but no, I think I think I like augmented reality better because I still stay in reality, but hey, it's augmented, right? But it appears like the
Mm.
things are in front of me when they're not really there, and that's is that like that Pokemon thing. I've never actually played a Pokemon Go or whatever. You know, you go chasing around bloody Pokemon things in the middle of the city or something. It's the same.
Yeah, I mean, it's the same kind of idea. It's like you're looking through a
Yeah.
clear glass, and it's imposed on top of it. So yeah, it's the same kind of idea.
Oh, so can you get glasses? Can you that actually project the
No, no, no.
Pokemon?
It's
No,
on your phone, but then the
it's on your
camera
phone, but
basically
it.
is passing
Oh,
through
it's
the
on your
image, and
camera.
then
So
there's a
you look into your
superimposed one.
camera, right, and then you
That's
superimpose it. Oh, I found one,
yeah,
and I don't know, you collect points or
that's
some
right. Yeah, yeah.
rubbish, right? Yeah. Okay. Right.
I don't know if that's still a thing.
Yeah. See, I mean, that's extremely
Yeah,
popular.
I don't know. I don't think it is anymore, Dave.
Really?
I don't think.
I
I
actually
don't.
know people who still play it.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I'm
Yep.
more of a bleeding edge person myself, and
Right. I know someone who's my age. He was actually the best man at my wedding. Actually, he still
no
plays
way.
it. He still
Oh,
plays
okay.
it with his dad. Him and his
Oh,
dad go
wow.
out and play it.
Yeah,
No, go
sorry, man.
see it at the
I don't go
cinema.
to
Real
theaters.
music, real sound.
Hey everyone, it's Magento. Welcome to the 2022 Hackaday Prize entry update. Challenge 3 is Hack It Back. Add new features and capabilities to existing hardware, keeping it useful well into the future, because with these shortages, you'll never know when you're going to need to.
And I hear you just fine.
Thank you. I got a new Yaesu s.t.e.m 400. And I was on another channel. Couldn't get anything out. I figured it was me.
Find another one. Portable Enigma machine in pocket size. This project takes a smart response XE terminal and reprograms it to decode Enigma codes. This would have been super useful in 1943, just gotta wait for someone to finish a pocket time machine and we'll be all set. Retooling slot in record player for modern use. This entry can be used to play 45s. With this hack, you can slide in a record sleeve to play any given song, which is streamed online via Raspberry Pi. An RFID tag on each sleeve allows the device to figure out which record is being inserted. Here's the reason you've all been waiting for to finally get out all those dusty old records from storage. Casio F91W watch, retooled as Tesla key. A classic digital watch doesn't do much beyond tell time and keep alarms, but with this innovation, you can now use a watch to unlock a Tesla. How does this work? With just a programmed NFC chip and custom antenna added to a front plate of the watch, plus a transparent 3D printed cover. And with that, the technology of James Bond is finally a reality. Speaking of record and CD players, this mini cornstarch pottery machine turns an old CD player into a pottery wheel for small items. This example is using a Chopin CD. Classical music meets classical art. What could be better? ETKT Anachronic Label Maker. This entry refurbishes a manual label maker into a snazzy custom electronic label maker that works with a smartphone or desktop computer through a web interface. Just another beautiful example of the epic innovation our community is capable of. Label maker, why can't I say it? Labor maker. Labor makers. Up next is climate resilient communities. Help communities become resilient against wild weather and climate disasters and develop devices and tools to make these tough times easier and more survivable. For more information about Hackaday Prize, check out hackaday.io and show us how you're making an impact in your community.
It's now time for some advanced manufacturing here at Adafruit.
KA0LAI, AA0JK calling. Well, I certainly hope it is, because you're the one I was calling. How you been doing, Larry? Been awful quiet here lately.
Oh, I was out of out of town. I went to Pennsylvania for Historicon. It's a wargaming convention. And also toured the, BB-62, which is the USS New Jersey. And also went to a railroad museum in Strasbourg, which is a small town east of Lancaster.
Well, that sounds like fun. Definitely glad to hear somebody's getting out there and enjoying this summer. So, boy, that sounds really interesting. There's some of the tours that you took. And you fly out there commercially?
Negative. We drove. It's about a 28-hour drive, and there were 5 of us, so we took turns driving, and it worked out okay.
And it wouldn't be main New York City factory footage without...
Have lots of help. That really makes a big difference on a long trip like that. It can be grueling if you try to do it by yourself, but definitely seen some of the country there, didn't you? Have you made that run before?
Oh yeah, lots of times. I've gone to Historicon many times.
I was a little late on that one.
If you're a little late, I'll just shove you back in time. Welcome to the Hackaday podcast. I'm Elliot Williams, editor-in-chief of Hackaday.
And I'm Dan Maloney. I'm a staff writer at Hackaday.com and community engineer at Hackaday.io.
This is episode 179. We'll be talking about Danger Chess Corona motors, an OmniWalker, and a fast-talking telescope. This week, the news seems to be abuzz with a chess-playing robot that not only plays pretty good speed chess, but also is capable of injuring its opponents.
Good morning, Dr. Falcon. Would you like a nice game of chess?
Yeah, right. From the video that's been circulating it around, it looks like it went to grab a piece at the same time the kid who it was playing against went to grab the same piece, and it got his finger. The poor kid actually got his finger broken by the robot.
Did like a gripper get him? I have to admit, I haven't seen the videos yet.
Yeah, I think the gripper got his finger. It looks like it's a cable-driven... It's got 4 solid fingers that are all, on a pivot, but then they're drawn together by a cable, and it looks like it got caught somewhere in there. It may have been, like squeezed between 2 of the fingers or grabbed up funny and pulled up. I was watching some other videos of the robot, and it's absolutely marvelous. It plays legitimate chess. It moves the pieces, and it hits the clock when it's done. And all of this, of course, it plays well. It's a computer that's cheating. But the fact that the robot moves so quickly and that it's able to actually play like 5-minute speed chess against people is pretty awesome. I don't know. After this, though, I'm like, why does it need to grab the chess pieces so hard that it could break a child's finger?
It almost begs the question, did the person who designed this ever actually see one of those speed chess games where people's hands are flying across the chessboard and, meat hands are smacking against each other? Did they not consider that this was likely a possibility when you're, in the heat of a game? You're going to just stick your hands in wherever, especially when you're playing a, 7-year-old kid or something like that?
Yeah, well, I think that's the problem. I think 7-year-old kid introduced a failure mode that the robot was not robust to. So it's got an overhead camera so it can read the board, and then it's got a clock, a standard competition chess clock where each side presses it when their time is up. And once you press that, you really can't go reaching back onto the board. And my guess is that the thing is programmed so that as soon as its opponent hits the clock, it takes a picture and then gets ready to make its move. And the kid kind of hit it and then was maybe like, oh, wait, I'm going to do something else after he hit the clock, which
Classic kid.
It's breaking the rules, but it's also totally okay for a kid. And I think that is what happened here, is that the robot was, programmed to play against perfectly rule-abiding opponents. And kid tries to be like, hey, wait, maybe I'll take that back. And robot is like, I'll break your finger.
Yeah, I'm thinking as a robot designer, I'm not going to be able to fall back on that. Well, hey, his fingers are in the wrong place. I mean, it was clear in the rules. Did you not read the contract? Not going to work.
A guy local to my old hackerspace had an industrial robot that he'd scored cheap and was working on programming. And at the time, it was like kind of mostly under control. He was like reverse engineering the whole like control mechanics. So, that's a huge software endeavor, actually. But that thing was dangerous. And when you work around these industrial robots that can do, real damage to you without even noticing, you put lines on the floor and, this is its maximum reach. And so, when it's running, you stay on the other side of this line. They're no joke. And this thing somehow is a little bit in that direction. And that part I don't frankly understand.
Yeah, I actually had a run-in with one of these big industrial robots once. It actually wasn't that big a robot, but it was a lot bigger than we were used to in my old job. Lab robotics and stuff. We got this thing to kind of demo. They shipped it to us. It was all folded down. It was a regular articulated robot arm with 4 axes, 5 axes, something like that. So we took this thing out, put it up on the table, bolted it down, got it all hooked up, and then we wanted to power it up. So, hit the big red button, power it up. And it turned out that it had glass encoders, and in shipping, one of the encoder discs had broken. We found this out later. What happened was it wasn't getting any input on the fact that it was moving one of the axes to go through like its startup thing. So it ended up moving every axis as fast as it could. Ooh. So by the time the shoulder axis was moving as fast as it could, and then the next one was moving that fast plus as fast as it could go, and then you could keep going, get down to the wrist, and the thing was moving at like, the speed of sound.
Yeah.
By the time, and it hit the table, and I was just sort of, hanging out next to it. There's no safeties or anything like that. And that thing hit the table within like an inch of my head. It went like whew, right past my head. I could hear it go whistling past my head. And I just said, nope, that's it. Back in the box. We're not ready for this yet. Thing damn near killed me, and we just sent it back.
That seems appropriate. I think there's only a few things I've played around with that are super, super dangerous. And I know a lot of our readers out there are scared of chemistry. But let me tell you, a little chemicals, unless it's like the real nasty ones, there's basically no chemicals out there that are as bad for you as a wayward industrial robot or like class 3 lasers. These are the things that will blind you and maim you. And those are the areas where I don't play around.
This thing will kill you, and it will hurt the entire time you're dying.
Well, on that happy note, let's go straight off to What's That Sound?
This is a journey into sound.
What's that sound?
What's that sound?
Last week, Dan, I don't know if you heard it, but I gave out a horrible, horrible stumper, and one person got it, but he'd won just the week before, and so recused himself from the running. Coming off of that horrible defeat for me, where I stumped everyone in the Hackaday audience, I'm hoping for you on this one. I'm rooting for you, man.
That's an easy one.
See? What?
That's
Yup. Damn. All right. Congratulations, Dan. I hope it's equally easy for our listeners out there. If you happen to know what this is, and actually if you hear it, kind of that little beepy pitch changes a little bit about halfway through the sample. If you know why that is, for extra credit, you can throw that in the show notes. But I'm happy to hear just what that sound is. If you know the answer, swing on over to hackaday.com/podcast. Fill out the form, leave us your email, the name you'd like to be called on the air, and if you give us the right answer, we'll enter you for the winning for a Hackaday podcast t-shirt.
All right, everyone. Good evening and welcome. This is Daron K1DBC. Webcam is still failing here, but we will get started here. Yeah, we watched a whole multitude of things here. Listening there to the Hackaday podcast. So this is Daron K1DBC. The DRC Learning Net will start in 1 minute. All stations, please stand by while the repeaters are placed into net mode. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Denver Radio Club Learning Net for August 3rd. Does time fly? Look at that. A great place to learn about ham, radio, and STEM topics in general. Thankfully, we have plenty of combined experience and expertise. My name is Daron, Delta Oscar, Romeo Oscar November. My call sign is Kilo 1, Delta Bravo Charlie. I am Net Control on behalf of the Denver Radio Club. Again, welcome everyone. We meet every Wednesday except the third Wednesday of the month, 7:30 p.m. on 145.490 and 448.625 on those repeaters, as well as on youtube.com// Denver Radio Club. We live stream on there, so if you missed it or if you would like to check it out on there, you are happy to do so. Elmer at W0TX.org is the email to get in contact with us. Facebook, Twitter, Denver Radio Club. This is Daron K1DBC Net Control. This net can be broken at any time for emergency or priority traffic by using the word break. Is there any emergency or priority traffic at this time? All right, this is K1DBC. We had KE0SUM Jonathan checking in online. I appreciate that. This is Daron K1DBC Net Control. We will go ahead and begin by inviting Elmers only to check in with or without traffic. All Elmers, please check in now.
Alpha 0, Juliet Kilo. AA0JK, Fred in Arvada. Good evening, everyone.
Kilo 0, Lima Alpha India, K0LAI, Larry in Lakewood.
All right, this is Daron K1 DBC Net Control. For Elmer's, that time we had AA0JK Fred and K0LAI Larry. Thank you so much both for checking in. This is Daron K1 DBC Net Control.
W0TX Repeater.
All right, this is K1 DBC Net Control. All other check-ins to the net will be taken in alphabetical groups based on the first letter of the suffix of the operator's call sign. That is the first letter after the number in the call sign. If you can, please try to use IT phonetics for the call sign and indicate if you have any traffic or questions as you check in. If your suffix begins with the letters A through M, Alpha through Mike, please check in now.
Kilo 6 Hotel Juliet Victor, K6H JV, Tom Arvada, no traffic.
November 0, Echo Yankee Zulu, Jim and South Jeffco, no traffic.
Whiskey Alpha 4, Mike, Bravo Golf, Bob and Aurora.
Kilo Foxtrot 0, Alpha Whiskey Charlie, Brian, Centennial, no traffic, no traffic.
This is Kilo Foxtrot 0, Juliet India Charlie, Steve in Denver, no traffic.
All right, this is K1 DBC Net Control. We'll go ahead and hold up there for just a minute. All right, this is K1 DBC Net Control. That time, I'd like to welcome and acknowledge the following check-ins. K6HJV Tom. There was a double in there. And then we had N0EYZ Jim, WE4MBG Bob, KF0AWC Brian, and KF0JIC Steve. Thank you all so much for checking in. If you had tried to check in and I didn't call your call sign, please call now.
November 1, Golf Uniform Mike, Peter Littleton.
All right, this is K1 DBC Net Control. We had N1GUM Peter, got you in that time. All right, this is K1 DBC Net Control. Once more, if your call suffix begins with the letters A through M, Alpha through Mike, please check in now.
Kilo Foxtrot 0, Foxtrot Papa India, Ron in Lakewood, no traffic.
All right, that time we had KF0 FPI Ron. We'll go ahead and open up to the whole alphabet. This is K1 DBC Net Control for the Denver Radio Club Learning Net. It's a great place to learn about ham radio STEM topics, and we have a lot of combined experience and expertise. We'll go ahead and open up the whole alphabet. If your call suffix begins with the letters A through Z, Alpha through Zulu, please check in now with your call sign, your name, and let us know if you have any traffic or questions. Please call now.
A0RH, Chris in Arvada.
N4NYX, Sarah in Arvada.
1 November 1, Golf Uniform Mike, Peter Littleton. 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 1 November 1, Golf
Kilo Bravo 3, Victor Charlie Uniform, Rob in Thornton.
All right, this is K1DBC Net Control. We'll go ahead and hold up there for just a moment. This is K1DBC Net Control. That time we had AE0RH, Chris, N4NYX, Sarah, and KB3 VCU, Rob. Thank you all so much for checking in. Appreciate all that. All right, this is K1DBC Net Control. Again, once more, if you'd like to check into the Denver Radio Club Ham Learning Net to talk about ham radio, STEM topics, all the tendrils of that ham radio covers, please check in now with your call sign, your name. Let us know your call sign, and if you have any traffic or questions, please call now.
Kilo 0, Yankee Echo Sierra, Ken in Broomfield, no traffic.
D0 CIV, WD0 CIV, Charles in Denver, no traffic.
All right, this is K1DBC Net Control. That time we had K0YES Ken and WD0CIV Charles. Thank you both for checking in, as always. Again, this is K1DBC Net Control for the Denver Radio Club Ham Learning Net. We're taking all call signs, all call suffixes for the Denver Radio Club Ham Learning Net. Place to learn about ham radio, STEM topics, everything that covers that. So if you'd like to check in, please do so with your call sign, your name, and let us know if you have any traffic or questions. Please call now. All right, this is K1DBC Net Control. Again, as a reminder, youtube.com/Denver Radio Club. You can see some behind the scenes and some additional context to what we're speaking about. Elmer at W0TX.org is the email to get in contact with us. Facebook, Twitter, Denver Radio Club. Let us know. Lots of emails, lots of contacts online. So I'll bring up a lot of stuff throughout the net, but a lot of stuff is on our website, W0TX.org. Yeah, I'll call for calls, check-ins throughout the net, but don't hesitate to check in if there's a lull in the conversation. With that, though, I'll throw it over to S.t.e.m, KE0, S.t.e.m, Jonathan with a comment. Go ahead.
W0TX repeater.
Good evening, Ron. I like the way you take some time so I can think more about my comments. And you run this evening for amateurs and things. I was wondering, so many technicians are limited. They buy an HT. Let me clear my throat. I'll be right back. So technicians buy an HT and then are listening to our local repeaters, and this is one of them. So I'm wondering how we can get them over to being so mic shy and coming in and saying hi. Obviously, tonight everyone's incredibly friendly, and I had a nice QSO about 6 o'clock with Kevin, so if anybody had any comments, is there anything we can do? Because people are still buying a lot of HTs, VHF, UHF. KE0SUM, back to that.
KE0SUM, Jonathan, this is Net Control, K1DBC. Yeah, great question on that. Yeah, that's kind of the crux of some of the questions a lot of us have. So let me drop here for just a moment. Yeah, great question there. Why is this repeater so quiet throughout the most of the week, or oftentimes outside of the nets? You know, I think nets drive usage of the repeaters is what seems like. We have the 6 meter repeater and 2 meter repeater and some of the 70 centimeters. And yeah, some of the nets drive traffic to those repeaters, but you know, there's just a lot of options out there. But you know, everyone does have more or less a 2 meter or 70 centimeter handheld or some sort of device. So why don't we hear more people out there? And how do we get more people out there? You know, that's, I'm sure, a question that's been asked multiple times. So I'll throw it out to the group. This is K1DBC Net Control. Anybody on that, how we can get more involvement with our repeaters or other clubs' repeaters, or any suggestions you might have, or any follow-up, go ahead.
A0RH.
Yeah, AE0RH. Chris, go right ahead.
Yeah, I can say as a new ham with only an HT that, yeah, it's difficult to get on there. I think I'm over being mic shy for the most part, but a lot of times I call out and I don't get an answer. And I think when you read about repeater etiquette, just saying your call sign and listening, I know I'm constantly scanning the repeaters trying to be there and answer for someone, but I'll catch the end of it and then they won't call out again. So people are scared to be against that etiquette and be like a bad ham or something.
Comment, SUM.
AE0RH, yeah, great follow-up there as well. Yeah, you, even as a new person to the hobby, and I'm sure a lot of people, you scan the different repeaters out there, and you hear a tail end of a conversation, and then you try to come back to that conversation, and you don't potentially hear too much back. So you try to reciprocate, but you don't hear too much back in that term. So yeah, KE0SUM, Jonathan, go ahead.
Jerome, this is a subject I find near and dear to my heart because I like ham radio. And I've come down to the fact if I throw my call sign out every so often, I'll get more answers. That's the way it works. And so I've been doing that a lot more. Maybe you were on earlier. I threw my call sign out, asked who was listening, and had a nice contact. So I think if you want to talk, you can. It's my thought.
Comment.
KE0SUM, good follow-up there. You know, I think we've built a pretty good audience up here within this repeater and this club here. So hopefully going forward, we can start to maybe do that. Because don't ever hesitate to do so, because you'll hear some things out there. You'll hear some things coming out from the repeater. It's different identification. You'll hear different people. So monitor your repeaters. I know it doesn't take too much equipment to do it, but let's generate some more conversations on our local repeaters, because our repeaters are here exactly for that. There's people listening, and a lot of people want to do so. So yeah, a lot of good information here. Yeah, so AA0JK Fred, go right ahead.
AA0JK, yes. Good point here. I think that it helps a lot to have the face-to-face meetings, which I hope will soon be reactivated. Having some of the newer folks come to the club meetings and see what goes on during the club meetings, and the big thing is making friends and contacts at the club meetings, and to where they can kind of get on the air and talk with other people that they have met during the club meetings, or like a big event like we just had with the field day event. Encourage the newer folks to get out and attend some of those, to where they can meet some of us, and then they know who it is that they're talking on the other end. So that helps immensely. Also, the way you place a call is a big factor. I constantly hear people just go out and throw out their call letters and sit back and think that somebody is going to answer them right away. This isn't a cell phone. This isn't, and where you place the call and somebody answers. It doesn't work that way. You need to let them know that when you place a call, somebody might be just scanning the frequency, don't know what frequency that they heard you on, and then when you don't come back again, they don't know who called or how to get in contact with you. So the big thing is repeat your call, and like AA0JK, monitoring, and pause and listen. Don't think much about it if somebody doesn't come back right away. It just be that they're preoccupied with something else at the moment. They heard somebody call, they wasn't quite sure who, and then when you call back the second and the third time, then they have pretty much zeroed in on you. And make sure that when you call, like AA0JK monitoring 145490, let them know which frequency that you're on. So those three items are rather important there. So to get a contact, if they don't know what frequency that you're on, I don't think you got the repeater set, Daron.
This is K1DBC. It would have done something different there. I'll go ahead and set it out just in case, but I think that was something local to your end. Let me do this once more here.
Those three factors there, we need to educate these newer folks, and that takes some of the tension off of getting on there and talking with us face to face, get to know some of us, and the proper way to place your calls. AA0JK, sorry for being so long-winded. Back to net control.
W0TX repeater.
Comment NYX.
All right, K1 AA0JK Fred, this is K1DBC net control. Yeah, a lot of good information there. Yeah, kind of as you talked about field day a little bit, but kind of ties into that a little bit. Calling with a phonetic call helps somebody during field day, and as well as helps somebody on a repeater, as well as letting them know where you're calling them from, or what repeater or frequency you're calling them on. So yeah, a lot of good information. Yeah, let people know. Make it as easy as possible for somebody to try to get back to you. So this is K1DBC Net Control. We also had N4NYX. Sarah, go ahead.
Yeah, I'll try to keep it kind of quick, and just confirming that same sort of advice that, one, field day made me a lot more comfortable with talking on the club repeaters, made me feel like I belonged more with the club repeaters than not, and also just familiarity with the club. That definitely helps. There's a lot of people who didn't make it to field day who end up on the air, and those people I haven't seen face to face, but knowing that we're both involved with the club definitely helps. The second thing that I wanted to go ahead and say a little bit is with the putting out the call sign and other people who are scanning, definitely the case. There are several times when I've basically only had the cutoff monitoring and had no call to come back to. I sort of try to take advice from, for instance, s.t.e.m transmissions on HF. It is maybe not pretty of advice there, but it is advice there that to put your call sign in the bottom part of the image, since that's what gets translated last, and somebody who's just tuning around will still be able to get your call sign even if they didn't get the beginning of your transmission. So similarly, I might hop onto a repeater saying, monitoring this frequency N4NYX rather than putting the call sign first. That way someone's scanner who might cut off the first part of the transmission, they'll still get the majority of the message and the call sign included. Also, I am horribly bad about monitoring the repeater since I am somewhat running out of radios with different projects that I might have monitoring other things at the same time. Like my main bass rig might be listening to Whisper, for instance, or, just monitoring FT8 to see what stuff my antenna is listening to, and while it's doing that, it can't be sitting up on a VHF monitoring the repeaters, but maybe that's my fault for getting it all in one rig that way. Anyway, that basically concludes my comment. And for NYX, back to net control.
A0RH.
All right, AZRH, I'll get back to you in just a second. Yeah, N4NYX, N4NYX, excuse me, Sarah. Yeah, great information there. Yeah, similar to SSFTV. Yeah, give people the ability, end your call as much as you can, all your transmissions with your call sign, and give people the ability, either your call and or the frequency. Let them know as much as you can, because yeah, if you're scanning around, who knows what next frequency they'll land on, and if when they get back to you, if you're still transmitting, you may or may not still be there. So give people the opportunities to get in there. So yeah, a lot of information here, A0RH, a lot of follow-up. So yeah, go right ahead, Chris.
Yeah, appreciate that comment, N4NYX. I don't do that enough to where I put the call at the end or repeat it at the end to catch it. But just to, I think it's a similar thing, but what is the etiquette on calling? Because especially for something like SOTA, for calling CQ, but then also the repeater, and I'd like to know if there's any differences there. What is the etiquette for like spacing out your calls for CQ, before you're annoying or anything like that? Like just how long do you wait? And I guess that's basically it. How long do you wait between calls? How many calls is too many before you pack it up?
And for NYX can answer that one too.
All right, great question. This club is for you all. Your fees pay for these repeaters. So these repeaters need to be in use 24/7 if we were like a radio station. But we're not a paid-for radio station. But use these repeaters as much as you can. If there's nobody out there, I'd say use it. But you'll probably find, just keep putting your call sign out there once in a while, 5-10 minutes or whatever it may be. There's people listening out there, and people might just be running around, might not be right in front of their radios. So actions like that calling more out on our repeaters might actually liven up our repeaters. So it's things like that might help get more people on our repeaters. So just some food for thought, just my thoughts there. So this is K1DBC. I'll throw it to N4NYX. Sarah, go right ahead.
N4NYX, Sarah here. So my experience mostly comes from parks on the air, very similar concept, but with some different challenges. But I do believe that calling on the air should be mostly the same, though maybe the difference of HF to VHF might be a little bit different. But from a parks on the air perspective, Basically, the advice that I've received and what I practice is when calling CQ on a simplex frequency, basically, if you're not getting a response and assuming you're not stomping on someone else who might be using that frequency, I will be calling CQ, leaving maybe 15, 30 seconds between calls, because anyone who might be scanning around, the more that you're silent, the more likely they are to just scan past your frequency without hearing anything. So basically, so long as you're not stomping on someone and giving opportunity for people to respond, hog that frequency so people can find you. That's basically the advice that I've been given and operate on for that. Like I said, VHF might be a little bit different, but on VHF, that's the very standard advice of hog and own that frequency, and if you don't get a response within 15, 30 seconds, then no one heard you. Get back on there so that way somebody can find and hear you. And then for how long before you pack up, really that's just a question of endurance. But doing SOTA or Parks on the Air with VHF, you kind of really reduce the possibility of responses by not getting a signal out there too far with the nature of VHF, unless Sporadic E wants to be really gifting for you that day. But that's a bit of a stretch. Yeah, that's what I have to say on that. This is Sarah N4NYX. Back to Net Controller. Yep.
Comment. Comment. Yeah, there were two comments. I was the second one, drone, KE0SUM.
Perfect. This is Daron K1DBC Net Control. Let me drop here for just a minute. All right. Yeah, great follow-up there. Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, in terms of repeater usage like that, I don't know how, our technical committee can maybe speak about how that might work out with repeater usage, but simplex for sure, attack it as much as possible for sure. You might have heard of a term called Kerchunk City, maybe just keying up a repeater constantly, but our repeaters should be able to go through quite endurance usage. So, yeah, whether it be simplex or repeater usage, get out there, get your voice heard, and if it's not being used, as we've talked about, if it's not used, it might be taken away, whether it be our spectrum or our repeaters potentially for financial costs. So yeah, get out there, get your voice heard, and use our repeaters. So this is K1DBC Net Control. We had AA0JK and KE0SUM with follow-ups. So JK, go right ahead.
AA0JK, good topic and a lot of good comments there and suggestions. Very good. I do want to make a point there for HF. Like has been noted that there is a slight difference there in calling. I know that I hear a lot of people who just get on there and call and call and call, and don't give much spacing there. It gives another station an opportunity to answer them. But basic protocol is three times, and give your call CQ, and your call letters don't exceed 3 without pausing and listening. Listen. But don't be like some of these people that get out there and then they just constantly call CQ repeatedly without any breaks. 3 times, and give it a rest and listen. So AA0JK, just a comment there for a slight difference there for HF calling. Back to Net Control.
All right, this is K1DBC Net Control. Yeah, HF is definitely a different beast in general, depending on propagation. Who knows who might hear whom. So listening is definitely very vital on HF frequencies for sure. Very, very good follow-up there. And then we had KE0SUM. Go right ahead.
Well, I think, Jerome, what I'm thinking is you called this a ham learning net, and while it can be for HF, but I think a lot of people listening to a VHF net on the 145490 are techs or generals or extras, but a lot of times you get more techs with HTs, so I'm just trying to encourage them to talk a little more and then get interested in the HF. I mean, I get into HF with Fred and you every so often, but I'm always trying to inspire new technicians to get on and say hi. KE0SUM, back from that.
NYX for a self-clarification or, yeah.
All right, sounds good there, SUM, Jonathan. A lot of VHF, UHF usage here for technician class. So get out there, as we said. So NYX, Sarah, go right ahead.
Yeah, I just wanted to self-clarify that my advice is particularly for SOTA parks on the, my experience comes from parks on the air, but same sort of cult going on there, I guess. And since part of the idea is to, for instance, spot yourself and say, hey, I'm on this frequency, there's a little bit more of park yourself and wait for people to come involved in that than, say, general calling CQ on a frequency. It is a little bit of a contest in the same way field day might be a contest, but not a contest at the same time. And, of course, don't treat repeaters like that either, since they have their own transmitters that heat up and probably don't like the 100% duty cycle as much, just like your own radio might not like the 100% duty cycle. But I just wanted to answer specifically to the summits on the air type activation, since that also is different than general CQ calling and different than using repeater communication on VHF too. Although I would say if any technicians want to get onto 20 meters Morse code, it's technically an option, but intimidating option, sure, but technically an option. Back to net control.
Comment.
All right, NYX, good follow-up there. Just to clarify, absolutely. NYX, Sarah was speaking about SOTA, POTA activations. During those sorts of contests, the more aggressive you are, the more contacts you have. So repeaters, as mentioned, the duty cycle doesn't like that, similar to our own radios. So good follow-up there. Really appreciate clarification there. So, but again, as mentioned, if I can't remember specifically RH was speaking about VHF, UHF repeaters, but don't hesitate to call out a very quick thing on that. Don't hesitate to use the word CQ over repeater. I know that might seem a little bit taboo, but call out is anybody listening, or CQ, whatever it may be, but get out there on our repeaters and don't hesitate to use those, because they're out there for our usage. Another couple of follow-ups here. We had AA0JK and Fred and SUM Jonathan. So AA0JK, go ahead.
AA0JK, just a comment about the folks that are on the list here for the check-in list. I went through and researched here a while back, went through all the call letters, and I was very, very surprised to note that the majority all hold extra class licenses. Folks, we would like to hear a little bit more from you holding the extra class. You have a lot to contribute, and we would like to hear a little bit more from you. And also, if you know any of the newer technicians, or just it doesn't matter if they're new or whether they've been a technician for a while, encourage them to join us here. They don't need to be afraid of us. We want to hear more from them. So also, it's some of these events, or like during a licensing session, like we'll have here coming up at the Denver Radio Club's Swap Fest. Anytime one of these folks are just getting their first license, their tech license, make sure you let them know about the nets and encourage them to get in here and join us. We'd like to hear a lot more of them. So any of you out there that are just listening, or like Tom says, fly on the wall, please, join us. We want to hear from you. AA0JK, back to net control.
All right, this is K1DBC Net Control, AA0JK Fred. Yeah, good information and follow-up there. Yeah, a lot of email addresses, phone numbers online. Get in contact with us. And yeah, upcoming Hamfest. A great place for an eyeball QSO, as Fred has mentioned in the past. Let's see, at the Adams County Fairgrounds. $6 admission. You can pay online. You don't have to buy any tables. August 28th, 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. So yeah, check in that W0TX.org /Hamfest. We'll have some VE testing there, as some other as well, other volunteer opportunities. So yeah, that's somewhat of an underutilized opportunity as well. So use that opportunity because it's a pretty fun event. All right, this is Duran, K1DBC Net Control.
NYX, I realize I need to correct myself on something that I completely factually got wrong.
W0.
And for NYX, no problem. We are all human. Sarah, go right ahead.
Yeah, I mentioned Morse code privileges on 20 meters. Of course, my brain had to give me the one that does not have CW privileges for technician. It is 80 has a segment, 40 has a segment for technician, and 15 has a segment for technician. So my brain gave me the one where it's not true. Just wanted to correct myself on that since that's a pure factual error. And for NYX, back to net control, and I thought somebody else had a comment in there before my correction too.
All right, sounds good there, N4NYX. Not a problem. You can always check out the ARL band plan and check out where CW or other things are allocated. So not a problem. KE0SUM, yeah, with an additional comment. Go right ahead.
Well, actually, I was going to ask Sarah a couple of things. Do you use SOTA or POTA? Do you use self-spot? And I think, Fred, we shouldn't ask more extras to talk. We should ask more technicians. That's the whole idea. Get people talking. That might have been something else, but I'll throw it back to you guys. KE0SUM.
Yeah, the majority of us here are extra class. We need to encourage some technicians to come in here and talk. AA0JK.
I VE'd a local technician for their exam within the last couple of weeks. I'll be sure to bring them by sometime. And for NYX.
There you go. That's what we want to hear. AA0JK.
I got a quick follow-up. Sarah, what do you use? What radio do you use in an antenna when you do POTUS? KE0SUM. Sorry, Daron.
Daron, I'll give you a moment to say what you want to that before answering the couple of questions.
No problem at all. This is K1DBC Net Control. Now go right ahead, NYX.
All right, so the question I'll answer first was the antenna. Honestly, I need to get a better mobile antenna since some of the nearby parks on the air spots are bit more restrictive about what antennas you can put up, and I did confront that one time and now know better which parks accept what. I am looking to get like mag mount ham stick, so that way I don't have to set up anything off of my vehicle for, especially the wildlife refuge type locations. They much prefer that you have a onboard antenna to your vehicle. But in the campsite or the sites that offer camping, however, I sort of take that as a signal that I have a bit more free reign. I understand that some locations don't like anyone messing with trees, but I have set up a DX Commander at Cherry Creek State Park. And honestly, that's been the antenna that I mostly bring out and use for activations, since the other antenna I have is a off-center fed dipole, and getting that up in the air might be a little bit more challenging, having to bring out a couple of different masts, guide them up, the whole deal, which I did do once, and I have learned it is more of a hassle that way. But yeah, personally, I am looking for a more convenience antenna, so I don't know that I have the best answer to that, but the DX Commander has worked well. And I do apologize, but I believe there was another question. I'm just not remembering it off the top of my head. If I can get that station back with that question.
Jonathan.
If that's you with the question, please go ahead.
Yeah, I believe we're looking for KE0SUM, Jonathan. He had the questions there. Jonathan, are you still with us?
Yeah, Sarah, my other question was, what favorite radios do you like for POTA or SOTA?
Interestingly, that reminded me of the other question that I seem to have forgotten about self-spotting. When I do have internet available, I will log into the Parks on the Air website and go ahead and spot there. Sometimes with the online groups, like the Discord groups, I'll go ahead and give a message out to them before casting a wider net with the greater POTA community to try to get some QSOs with some of the people in those online groups before moving on to the more general Parks on the Air type of thing. Favorite radios? Well, I've only got one HF radio, so that would be my favorite, I suppose. It is a very uncommon radio, the FT847, definitely not built for mobile, but I did build one of the Shack-in-a-Box kits, which I had at the club's field day, if anyone was there to remember that. Or if anyone's on the Discord, I can post pictures for those who weren't able to attend. However, I will admit, it is a bit to lug around. I'm not eager to spend more money on another 100-watt rig, since that needs bigger batteries as well, and I already have the 100-watt rig. But I would consider buying the FT817 or 818. It is QRP, and from the people that I've heard running QRP on HF, it's a bit of a hassle, since, only putting out 5, maybe 10 watts can be a bit of a struggle to get QSOs. The one person I do know the QRP radio is mostly doing Morse code contacts, since when nothing else makes it through, CW will. But yeah, that's my perspective on it. I haven't done basically anything for Parks on the Air or Summits on the Air on VHF, however, but if you want a favorite radio that I would take for that, I would say the VX6 that I have. Interestingly, it can also do the 1 1/4 meter repeater that the club has. I just haven't tried it yet, since my antennas aren't meant for it, and I kind of don't want to just try and hope. Anyway, that's what I have to say on that. I'll go ahead and give the repeater a break and let anyone else join in to respond off that, or Darren in to act as net control. And for NYX, Sarah, back to net control.
Comment.
All right, Sarah, N4NYX is a drone K1 DBC net control. Yeah, not a problem. Yeah, thanks for all the follow-up on all your equipment there. Yeah, I'm sure we've had some photos. Yeah, but please don't hesitate. Yeah, as mentioned, W0TX.org/Discord. New link. Not a new link. Same link as always, but just a more convenient way to get to it. So check things out on there. As mentioned, a lot of cool stuff on there. You'll check out. A lot of active members on there, thanks to A0RH, again, a recent moderator here, and N4NYX, and a lot of other people here helping out here. So this is K1 DBC Net Control. Yeah, hopefully that helps answer some questions there. I'll throw it back to A0JK. Fred, go right ahead.
A0JK, yeah. Doing the QRP, it helps to have a little bit more power when you're up there mobile and portable. I've been having a lot of fun here with this G-Core C90 little transceiver. I think Jonathan also has this particular model, but I usually operate around 10 watts with it, but it's capable of 20. But it's very compact and very lightweight. For the type of operating that you are mentioning there, it might be a consideration. Not to mention the fact that it's a little bit more economical price-wise. So, Jonathan, you might chime in. AA0JK.
W0TX repeater.
I will chime in if it's okay with you, Jerome. KE0SUM.
Yeah, SUM, go right ahead.
No, Fred's right. I am into QRP. Definitely got into HF to talk at 100 watts barefoot. But I don't know, there's something interesting. But I bought the Zygu. Fred pronounced it differently, but it's G90. You go up to 20 watts. Very small color screen, but it's got display and it's got a waterfall and really a nice radio. And then I have the X6100, which is a bigger screen, kind of the same features, but the QRP, Fred and I have, Drone have talked about this. Oh my, you're 5 watts or 10 watts, so you have to think about that. KE0SUM.
Yep, for sure. Like I said, with a 100-watt rig, it's a lot more to carry around, but I've been doing it so far, but we'll say I will agree to the camp that having a more lightweight setup definitely helps. Yeah, I mean, that was my input already. Just saying, pure agree, these Zygus are very popular too, and yeah, I've got nothing more to say on that. So back to Darren, Net Control, N4NYX.
All right, this is K1 DBC Net Control. Yeah, it all depends on your mission, your use case, what you're trying to do, and what abilities you have and what you're trying to do. So there's abilities for all use cases out there, and do what fits what you're trying to do. So yeah, cool stuff all around. This is K1 DBC Net Control. Wanted to take a check-in online. KC0JAV Frank, appreciate that. We're nearing the net, about 10 minutes or so here. Not a hard end to the net here, but I'll throw it out real quick here. If you want to check into the Denver Radio Club Ham Learning Net, this is a place to learn about ham radio, electronics, STEM, S.t.e.m. If you want to comment on anything we've talking about, please call now.
LAI.
Yeah, K0LAI, go right ahead.
Permission to go direct to N4NYX.
Yeah, go right ahead.
N4NYX, K0LAI. Sarah, we're looking for speakers for the DRC, and right now, of course, we're doing them virtual, and you've got an interesting rig and everything that, we saw at the at the out at the Arvada there, and I was wondering if you'd be interested in giving a presentation and talk about some of the things you've done with that equipment or any other things you've done.
K0LII. I would say I would definitely be amenable to doing a talk, especially with the invitation to do so. I guess the hardest thing about preparing a talk is second-guessing yourself if, you know, there's interest in the topic, but that confirms it. So I guess that's my decision made there. I would be interested in talking on it to the extent that I can. And, yeah, absolutely, that could definitely happen there. Yeah, it is a bit of a unique rig, and I have set it up a bit uniquely as well, I suppose. And like I said, I very much like it. I've been getting it out to a few of the parks on the air spots. And I guess to address a little bit about the summits on the air, too, yeah, I would want a QRP rig for running summits on the air, especially since I have to hike that stuff in, and I don't think I'm hiking in this setup too easily. But yeah, to answer that question, yeah, would be interested. This is November 4, November Yankee X-ray. Back to net control, or back to Larry there?
Yeah, I have a follow-up. Why don't you check my email on QRZ and send me an email, and then, or you can call me on my cell phone. I can give you that if you want that instead. And we're looking for September and October. If you think you could do something in September, it'd be the third Wednesday in September, and again, it's virtual. And otherwise, we could do October if you're not quite ready. But I don't have anything else for September yet lined up.
September should be able to work, just as long as you weren't asking me to do it sometime next week or the week after, since I'm ending up going to a conference, not with a talk, but to help VE and sort of absorb what they're doing more. But, yeah, could do September 3rd Wednesday, if that fills a slot for you. Oh, and additionally, I'll go ahead and send the email. I'm good to do that, and it keeps cell phone numbers off the air if that's something you care about.
Very good. It's September 21st. That's the third Wednesday in September. Oh, great. Thanks a lot. We'll be in touch. And I'll send it back to Daron, back to net control. This is K0LEI.
All right, K0LAI N4NYX. Yeah, that's awesome to hear. Yeah. Yeah, always great to hear new voices in the nets as well as in our meetings. So, yeah, please don't hesitate to jump in there. These meetings are pretty low key, and we are happy to hear as much as we can and absorb as much as we can as well. So this is K1DBC Net Control. Yeah. Anyone else? Yeah. K0LAI@ARRL.net for an email address, public on the QRZ page. But let him know. We'd love to hear you out there. Give some presentations to our club, third Wednesday of the month. So this is K1DBC Net Control. Yeah, a few more minutes here in the net. I have some things I can pass, but plenty of time here. So this is K1DBC Net Control. Any other comments, check-ins, questions, anything else for this evening's net? Please call now.
Comment for the group.
AWC comment.
All right, this is K1DBC Net Control. All right, this is K1DBC Net Control. We had a double in there, but it may have been... so we had AWC, KF0 AWC, and KE0 SUM, Jonathan. So AWC, Brian, go right ahead.
Yeah, getting back to the original question of Jonathan about getting new hams on the nets and stuff, two 2 months ago was when I got my technician's license. I had no clue where to go, how to get to a net, or anything else. I took my exam course down at HRO, and the guy said, just get on the repeaters, and I just kind of looked at him and said, how do you do that? Because a lot of people don't, they get into the hobby and then they don't understand how to do it. Eventually, I went back there and talked with Jeff there, and he informed me to, go to like RMRL net list, and they have a list of nets, and there's other, just Google it and find out other ways to get on the nets, because if you just go to find the repeaters, it'll just give you repeaters but no information about nets and stuff. So that's how I found this net. So back to drone.
W0TX repeater.
All right, yeah, great information there, AWC Brian. This is Drone K1DVC net control. Yes, whether it be our website, W0TX.org, or RMRL or RMHEM, check out the surrounding areas, nets, and nets that are passed on our RF repeaters, at least around here, because that is how you can get in contact. But yeah, again, it's important to know how to program your radio, understand the receive frequency, the transmit frequency. Transmit is often represented either is the frequency or an offset in kilohertz or megahertz, and a transmit tone. So just understand how to program your radio, find what's popular out there, listen to the nets, understand the structure of the different nets, and yeah, jump on in there. So yeah, good follow up there, AWC. KE0SUM, Jonathan, go right ahead.
So do you think most people buy their HTs to listen rather than talk?
All right, KE0SUM. Yeah, good question there. Yeah, it depends on the person. Yeah, sometimes you want to listen for a bit and understand, but yeah, sometimes why buy it why if you don't want to exercise this license? So yeah, sometimes it's not just about rag chewing, but there's a lot of opportunities out there, whether it be CW, lower sideband, voice, whatever it may be. So SUM, AWC, anyone else on that? Go ahead.
NYX.
Yeah, Sarah, N4NYX, go right ahead.
N4NYX, I guess a perspective on being a new ham and not getting on the air so much is, especially if you haven't had an introduction to a club, like with a lot of the online testing that's been happening, or a friend that I knew got tested, they just wanted to get ham radio tested and went to a test location. It can be a little bit intimidating to make friends with the strangers that you meet at the test location a little bit. And I would also say that a lot of people, even some of my friends, are interested in getting in the ham radio for more so for preparedness than utilizing the license. And one of the attitudes that I push at them is that the radio is completely useless to you if you don't practice with it, if you don't get on the air, if you don't get familiar with programming your radio, and sometimes programming it on the fly instead of always having, say, the chirp programming software available for your Baofeng, that sort of thing. I push at them to get the ham radio license, practice, so that way when you need it, you know how to use it, and that somewhat falls in line with amateur radio's sort of mainstay of this is the place to experiment, get familiar with radio gear, and that sort of thing as well. And then there's also arguments to be had about how non-hams perceive the ham radio community, but I don't know, I'll choose not to get into that because I'm doing what I can to get more people into the hobby and push them in the right direction myself. And yeah, I'll say that much. And then I guess I pose to the rest of the group with getting more people licensed as technicians so they can get on the air. I think that the club, the Denver Radio Club testing sessions is a good way to do that. And I am interested in trying to volunteer as VE for that. And correct me if I'm wrong, that's with ARRL's VEC. I am currently accredited with a couple of other VECs, but not ARRL so far. So just wanted to confirm if I need to poke at them for the paperwork. And for NYX, back to net control there.
All right, a lot of information, a lot of good information here, NYX. Yeah, a lot of higher level topics and conversations to be had about the hobby and about a lot of things here. So we're happy to have everyone as much as we can, and yeah, definitely happy to have more involvement. Yep, ARRL is who we are for VE testing. That has an open book test online, and we'd love to see more people helping with that as well. Yeah, our upcoming Ham Fest, we'll have some session there, but we want to start utilizing hamstudy.org more, so we'd love to start throwing that out in the future. So yeah, a lot of room for improvement, but really glad to hear a lot of involvement here. This is K1DBC Net Control. A lot of great conversations here this evening. Yeah, this hobby isn't always about just being on the air. There's a lot of things about experimentation and a lot of things to try out and a lot of things to do. So, find what fits your liking, and you might adapt to something else over time. So this is K1DBC Net Control. Yeah, I'll throw it out to the net. Yeah, any other comments, questions, check-ins, anything else for this evening's net, please call now.
GRC. Good question for Sarah.
All right, KF0 JIC, and then we'll throw it over to you, SUM. KF0 JIC, go right ahead.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that I've enjoyed this conversation. I've appreciated it. I'm one of these new hams you're talking about. I just got my technician license back in May and got my general license last month. And I haven't really done anything other than nets and field days, so this kind of gives me an idea of how to participate a little bit more, so I appreciate it. Thanks. KF0 JIC, back to net control.
All right, not a problem, KF0 JIC. Yeah, glad to help. Sometimes it takes a moment for things to click, but you see something in a moment and you realize there's a lot to this hobby. So yeah, KF0 GIC, glad to hear you found some good things out of this conversation, and I hope other people have as well. So yeah, a lot of good conversation here. We had N0TRP Jim checking in online. We had Frank checking in and talking about let's see, being here on the new repeaters and testing CQ. And then we had KE0 SUM. Jonathan, go right ahead.
Well, I'll throw it out to the group, but kind of was for Sarah. What do you tell your new friends about getting their technician license when they say, how hard is it? KE0 SUM.
K0 LPR with a comment and a late check-in.
I'll let Darren take the new check-in before answering.
Sorry to interrupt there and butt in, but yeah, I was able to get a new high schooler, my next-door neighbor. He's a technician now, and he's always been interested in all this equipment on my desk, and I promised him I would buy him his first ham radio if he passed his test, and guess what? He did. This is about a year ago, and he became a member of RMRL. Anyway, I was really proud. And then I have another friend. He's retired from Army, and he's getting ready to take his technician test. Back to net. That was the thing. I just promised him I'd buy them their first radio.
W0TX repeater.
You can't let it go at that, Linear. What radio did you get him? K0SUM.
Well, you're not probably going to approve, but I got him a Baofeng. Put the same, programmed it exactly like mine. So if he needed help, I could help him, and I got him a Baofeng. And that was my first radio. Well, no, it wasn't my first radio. My 897 was, but I wanted a little handheld, and I have to say I still like it. I've got my two FT60s, which I use now, but I have to admit I liked my little Baofeng, and it's the Denver Radio Club that got me started, and that was where I made my first connection. Joined the club and found my Elmers, and so I guess I became an Elmer, to my neighbor and my new person that's about to take a test. Back to net, K0LPR.
Well, I have two Baofengs that I started with in the drawer. Very good, Linear. And K0SUM, back to net.
All right, this is K1DBC drone net control.
Comment, KC0JV.
All right, this is Daron K1DBC net control. K0LPR Linear, I got you checked in. And then I think there was a KC0GV potentially in there. Was that the correct call? Kilo Charlie 0 Golf Victor?
No, it's KC0JV. I don't know how good the signal is coming out since I'm in a RF environment.
All right, not a problem. I got you that time. KC0JV got you checked in. It's a little bit scratchy, but got you just fine. I'm trying to look up your call sign here real quickly to get your name, but looks like KC0JV. If you want to call correct or anything on that, go ahead.
No, it's not coming in. I'm in a data center, so this HT is not. But it's KC0JAV, Frank. I was going to make a comment on the HTs saying, if you got some new hams, a little better than the Dongfeng, is Aizu's got some, HROs right now has got some dual band, a couple of HTs are like $90, which I just bought one 2 weeks ago, and they are actually great. KC0JV, back to net.
NYX will confirm that Aizu's got the FT65, I think at HRO for like about $85 right now, maybe. I like that radio. I've had personal grudges with Baofeng due to quality control, so that's the one that I recommend and sometimes buy people. Also, there's still a question further back in the conversation that still wanting the answer. And for NYX, back to net control.
All right, yeah, absolutely. Things are piling up here. Not a problem. K1DBC net control. Yeah, LPR, thanks for the comments and questions. Yeah, some of these Baofengs, although they may not be up to snuff for some of the things we're looking for, $20, $30, that's a really nice entry point, and it's a really kind of a exciting looking thing to be able to give a child or a teen or whatnot. So yeah, hamstudy.org, as we've spoken about, it's not open book, it's not open book, but the question pool is all online. So sometimes we second guess ourselves in what we can learn and regurgitate, but question pool of 200 to 400 questions or something like that, and half of them are the same. So these are made for entry level points. So yeah, encourage people to get in there. So yeah, NYX with a follow up from previous s.t.e.m, I believe. Go ahead.
So I am answering to the question of what do I say to new technicians to either get them into the hobby, or answering to how easy the technician test is. And I have a bit of a biased friend group of people that I'm in touch with. A lot of them have some electrical hobbyist or engineering level knowledge. So for those people, that's a lot of the questions already basically answered for them. A lot of the Ohm's Law stuff is there. I basically tell them that a lot of it is somewhat common sense safety knowledge. Some of it is just brute force memorizing FCC rules and regulations. I say that to them since as an introductory level, that's really kind of what that is. And learning some of the basic physics of RF. And then there's definitely some questions about common practices with operating. And for that stuff, I say it's especially pretty easy for them. Since I'm around to go ahead and demonstrate some of the operating or point them to some resources that demonstrate that sort of stuff, since I think if you were a new technician with no optics into operating common practices, no one to show you what's what, then a lot of it doesn't end up making a whole lot of sense. It ends up being brute force memorizing. But being able to see those operating practices in use, which is something that I definitely provide for any of my friends studying up for any of the tests, I say that comes across a lot easier, since it might seem arbitrary to somebody outside the hobby, some of the certain operating habits, why our repeaters offset the 600 kilohertz on VHF or 5 those sort of things, or what is single sideband and what's the difference between upper side and lower side. All those sort of things are pretty easy to show. But without having someone to show you that, it can be a bit harder. However, I will say that it is quite possible to just flashcard memorize the test answers, which does open up a bit of a debate between different hams about if that's a good thing to do or a bad thing to do. But the good argument I've heard for memorizing the test answers is it gets you on the air where you can listen, participate, and learn through practice, since especially as a non-licensed getting technician license, you don't have the exposure to learn by doing at all. But definitely those rules and regulation points are the kind of thing that I would drill into anyone, since, you know, you can learn by doing, but if you mess up those sort of things along the way, there can sometimes be consequences. And how do I... and yeah, with a lot of those friends too, they're interested in preparedness. They're also interested in how to communicate without relying on cell phones and internet. So that's the sort of that's the angle that I take it from. And of course, I think I mentioned earlier, some of them who are interested in preparedness might just want to buy a Baofeng and consider themselves good and done. And that's all they need to do. But I push at them, no, get licensed, use the radio, practice, get familiar with it, so that way you know how to use it when the time comes. And then, of course, some people could debate about preparedness, this, that, the other thing, if ham is what you should use or if you should just use FRS. I'm just happy to have someone in the hobby. I'll meet them where they're at. Anyway, that's my long-winded conversation, and for NYX, back to net control there.
No problem, and for NYX, yeah, you hit up on a good few topics there, absolutely, yeah. One of the things you mentioned was studying. Yep, again, it's all online, so you can just study it. Just regurgitate the information, study it, and then regurgitate it. So learn it online through flashcards. You can transfer it to text-to-speech, listen to it kind of podcast style, listen and for the correct answers, watch different videos. Yeah, a lot of different studying methods, but these tests aren't as daunting as they may seem. So get your tests out there, get the extra, and then you'll get it out of the way, and that'll be it. So this is K1DBC. Yeah, get out on the air. There's a lot of things about what ham radio is. I had to encourage people. So yeah, a lot of cool stuff there. So this is K1DBC Net Control. Anyone else? Any other comments, questions, check-ins, anything else for this evening's net? Please call now.
A0RH.
Yeah, AE0RH. Go right ahead.
For anyone that I've talked to so far, it's definitely the test is not the barrier. The barrier is, what do I do once I get on the air? And that's a hard one to answer. The best things, I guess, going for right now are POTA and SOTA, I think, for most people that they can relate to, unless they are, into the preparedness stuff. But I think being more active in those areas would help a lot of people.
Comment.
All right, yeah, good information there. Yeah, there's a lot of aspects of this hobby that are overlooked quite a bit, unfortunately. So yeah, KE0SUM, or just so AE0H, yeah, great comment there. Yeah, more on parks on the air, summits on the air. Get out there, explore the world, and enjoy the parks and the summits and the mountains around us, and as well as exercise our equipment out there. Yeah, a lot of what we've been speaking of. Know how to program your radio from its front head end if you need to. Be able to operate out in the field. You get a lot of enjoyment out of this stuff. So yeah, a lot of parts of this hobby are overlooked. So that's definitely a part of it. So A0H, yeah, good information there as well. So yeah, KE0M, Jonathan, go right ahead.
Well, I think he's exactly right. I think POTA and SOTA have re-energized ham radio. POTA's parks on the air, and I have rheumatoid arthritis, so I don't hike so much. But POTA's totally, I can do that, and I can use a variety of antennas, and anything up to 100 watts, or QRP. So it depends on what you want to do with ham radio. Seems like I wanted to say something else, Ron, but I'll let it go. Back to you, KE0.
Not a problem. KE0SUM, this is K1DBC Net Control. Yeah, we've had a pretty awesome evening here over the net and over YouTube. Really appreciate everyone being here. So if you did miss things out over this evening, youtube.com/Denver Radio Club. We might start to wrap things up here. It's been a pretty eventful net. Yeah, check things out. Make comments on YouTube if you want. And roll back and listen to the conversations and let us know what you want to hear. So late check-in here. We had KS0E Alex check in and got you checked in. Let's see. We've talked about quite a bit here, but yeah, getting people on the air, driving traffic to our repeaters, using your equipment, getting more comfortable being on the air, understanding the different parts of the hobby. There's a lot of things out there. So, yeah, don't hesitate to ask questions, get on the air, email us, elmer@w0tx.org. A lot of emails online for different other members or volunteer staff, a lot of phone numbers. And YouTube, Discord, w0tx.org/Discord. A lot of activity there. Again, thanks to AE0RH again for stepping up his recent moderation. So if you want to help with our club at all, w0tx.org/volunteer. Let me drop for just a moment. Upcoming Hamfest, as we've spoken about, August 28th. Plenty of opportunities there. Just sign up on the form there. No commitment really required. And then net control for this evening's net. So if you want to, please sign up formally to any Wednesday night that this Wednesday night learning net is held. And I'm happy to help you as much as you can or as little as needed. So VE testing, as mentioned, our VE team. W0TX.org/exam. There'll be some upcoming exams here and all sorts of stuff. Our website, social media. So, we've been going for quite a bit here, hour and 53 minutes or so, or at least I've been streaming for that long at least. So, with that, I'll throw it out to the net. Any other? This will probably be the second to last call. Any other last minute comments, questions, check-ins? Anything else for this evening's net? Please call now.
W0TRM check-in.
Comment to Darren, if I could keep you after the net for a quick second to mention a couple other things to you directly, that'd be great.
All right, this is K1DBC Net Control. All right, that time we had W0TRM checking in, and not a problem. NYX, we can hang out after the net here, not a problem. All right, this is K1DBC Net Control. Again, this will probably be the final call. Any other check-ins to the Denver Radio Club Ham Learning Net, please call now. All right, this is Daron, K1DBC Net Control for the Denver Radio Club Ham Learning Net. With that, it's been an awesome event here, awesome evening. We had a total of, 21 check-ins. Appreciate everyone being here. Appreciate all the Elmers, all the chatter here, all the comments back and forth. We appreciate the Denver Radio Club for allowing us to use the repeaters. W0TX.org for more information on our club, upcoming events, nets, things like that. We've spoken quite a bit about that so far this evening. So with that, this is Daron, K1DBC Net Control. Don't ever hesitate to get in contact with us. Again, Elmer at W0TX.org, youtube.com/Denver Radio Club, Facebook, Twitter, Discord, all sorts of things. Again, 21 check-ins. Please join us next week, 19:30 hours, for the next Learning Net. All stations, please stand by while the repeaters are placed into normal mode.
PL on.
All right, this is K1DBC Net Control. Again, appreciate everyone being here this evening. Check in online, however, on the air, however you'd like to get in contact with us. This is K1DBC Net Control, 7-3 to all. I am clear. And Sarah, if you want to continue this conversation over here or other means, go ahead.
Yeah, K1DBC, this is Sarah N for NYX. I was just going, since you mentioned exam tools earlier, I'm not sure how many of the VEs already involved with the club are familiar with exam tools, but I come from a VEC, the GLARG group, Greater Los Angeles Amateur Radio Club VEC, and with them, they're primarily a exam tools and ham study first organization, so I can come with a lot of knowledge already existing from there. Just wanted to provide that. And secondly, I guess I also wanted to ask, since it seems like I'm answering a lot more questions than asking, even though I only got my technician license this year and upgraded to extra pretty fast. Guess I put in my research. Should I be checking in as an Elmer instead of in the general check-in? If there was a classification or qualification for that, wanted to ask you that. This is N4NYX. Back to K1DBC. No.
W0TX repeater.
Hey, Sarah. Elmer is an interesting question. As long as you know more than most people, you're fine. KU0SUM. How's your antenna theory?
All right, this is K1DBC. Sorry, let me just answer these questions right here, and I'll let you continue down there. So, K1DBC to N4NYX. Yes, hamstudy.org exam tools. Yes, we've had that set up for quite a while, but haven't utilized it. At this point, we need to get our official call from the ULS website and uploaded it to that. But I want to get the VE team back with HamStudy and back on that in exam tools to schedule and administrate our exams. Let me drop here for a second.
VE comment AA0JK.
And K1DBC final thing here. Yeah, as mentioned, yeah, you are more than happy to check in. Anyone really can check in as an Elmer. No qualifications ever required. If you ever have some sort of subject expertise in something, don't ever hesitate, and anyone else can do so. So, and NYX, if you have any other comments on that or anyone else, go ahead. This is K1DBC, but I also had Fred in there. Go ahead.
Okay, yeah, you might make contact with our VE team leader, Tom, KC2CAG. You can get his information under the officers list on the Denver Radio Club webpage. But Tom coordinates and is our spearhead here for our club VE team. So if you want to get involved there, Tom's the one to talk to, KC2CAG. AA0JK, and we would welcome your participation.
NYX, yeah, definitely want to get involved. And tonight I asked the which VEC question, since I wanted to get the paperwork squared away before saying, hey, I'm ready to get involved. And otherwise, yeah, that's already very much the plan. And for NYX, back to whoever needs to say something, since I can't say back to net control, it's not the net. But yeah.
Did drone clear?
Yeah, this is Daron, K1DBC. I'm clear. Everyone have a good evening.
Oh,
all right.
Now we can talk about fun things like pizza. K0SUM. I'm just teasing.
All right, thanks again, everyone, for watching here. Real quick video here from Jerry Ellsworth on topic of mentoring and all that Elmering. Let's see.
I will have a warm, fuzzy spot in my heart for Pacificon. Yeah. And I've been learning a lot about ham radio too in the last several years as well, and I think it's really neat and it's really humbling to think. On my gosh, sorry, I didn't want to get emotional. All of the Elmers that helped me out when I was a kid, they're silent keys now. They don't even realize, they never realized that they set in motion me being a ham 20 years later, right? And I think about that a lot, like what we can all do as ham radio operators, kind of giving that nudge to the youth and our friends, and that it plants the seeds, and someday that they'll be ham radio operators or engineers. You know, what can happen with my YouTube channel, like some random kid might stumble onto it and see something that inspires them. So I think in closing, you're not always going to see the fruits of your efforts, but it's so worth it, trust me. I could have never been, an engineer. I could have never worked on rockets. Could have never been a prankster on the phone. Without, guidance from ham radio operators and other mentors along the way. So, with that, I think I'm going to wrap it up.
NBC Television.